Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup Council. How are we all? Hopefully, everyone is having a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world, and hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day. Of course, and welcome back to another Liverpool news episode. Of course, we're going to be mentioning, as you can see by the thumbnail and the title, we're going to be mentioning Luis Diaz and a an injury setback, unfortunately for Luis Diaz. We're of course going to be talking about more about Jude Bellingham in tonight's episode, and again we've got plenty more to talk about. We're going to be speaking about Darwin Núñez, winning Player of the Month for Liverpool. We're going to be speaking about Sofian Amrabat yet again. We're also going to be talking about Roberto Firmino in tonight's episode as well. Of course, there is news going on, and as I'm recording this as well, at the moment it is going crazy at the moment in the World Cup. It is 2-2 at the minute, going into extra time, last minute equaliser for Holland, which, wow, I was watching it, getting ready for the stream, and wow. And I think, to be fair, Virgil's just got booked. Has Virgil just got booked? He has just got booked for it anyway. But yes, we are going to be talking about those main things anyway in tonight's episode for you guys. Tomorrow we'll be back with a preview show. Tomorrow we're going to be live with the first preview show in a very, very long time. Tomorrow anyway for you guys, but let me know how all of you are. If there is anyone in here in the comment section down below. Mark is in, great to see you in here as always. Mark saying 2-2 going into extra time. Yes, I've got it on the big screen right now. I'll let you guys know as well what's happening anyway. But how you doing, Con? I'm doing very good, thank you, Mark. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day as always. Anyway, but and of course, we will mention, before I do forget as well, we will also be mentioning a leaked away kit for next season, because if you're not following us on Twitter, then please go and do so, because again, that has caused a lot of conversation on Twitter, over on our Twitter page. So again, at the Cop Council, if anyone would like to follow us over on there as well. But let's dive straight into it then and talk about this man, Luis Diaz. Of course, returning back from injury. Of course, did fly out to Dubai with the rest of the squad earlier this week. But the news today coming out, from all the major Liverpool sources, saying Luis Diaz, Liverpool winger, suffers injury setback. Of course, we haven't seen Luis Diaz since that 3-2 defeat to Arsenal back, a few months ago now. But again, Paul Joyce mentioning that Luis Diaz has complained of discomfort following his return from injury, and will now undergo further assessment in England to determine the extent of the blow as well. And that's from Paul Joyce as well, the most reliable source that there could ever be, in Paul Joyce as well, which again isn't great news, is it, chat? And I think, look, I think as Mark has said it perfectly there as well, in saying, it's sad to hear about Luis Diaz, because it's majorly sad to listen and to hear about Luis Diaz, because for me, I was very much excited to watch him on Friday. I thought he would have played a couple of minutes again, not Friday, sorry, on Sunday, against Lille, not Lille, sorry, against Lyon. I don't know where all these French names are coming out of, from Lyon anyway, but I was thinking that he would make some sort of an appearance in pre-season, or like this, miniature Dubai tour. Anyway, I did think that we would eventually see him for a few minutes. But the fact that he's had to fly back out, fly back to the UK, and not stay with the rest of the squad, for me, it's just devastating when you think about it. And for me, look, hopefully this isn't a drastic long-term injury. Hopefully it's not something that's going to take him out now for the next 2 months or something like that. Hopefully it is just something short, but again, you have to be very careful, because we don't want that to happen. We don't want him to be out for the next few months, because he is so important to this Liverpool team. For me, before his injury, he was Liverpool's best player by a country mile, at least outfield anyway. I think Alisson Becker has been Liverpool's best player so far this season. But in terms of just outfield player. For me personally, I think Luis Diaz has been the best Liverpool player so far this season, and it is just a crying shame that, again, I don't mind if it's only going to be a couple of more weeks to make sure he's 100%. But the fact that he's flown back to Liverpool for further assessment on it isn't a good sign. And there hasn't been much more said about it. It is being kept hush hush, which does tend to go, okay, there might be something bad there. So hopefully, and fingers crossed, that it's not going to be the case with Bobby Firmino. Anyway, fingers crossed. But again, hopefully, anyway, everything will be a-okay with it, to be fair, as well. But was excited to see us play as well. Yeah, absolutely, Mark. It's an annoyance thing, though, isn't it? The fact that, again, just not being able to get Luis Diaz and seeing Luis is a very, very crap situation. Then I think that's the best way of putting it. Anyway, but again, I don't mind if he misses until until the new year, if that makes sense. Like, he gets back up to full fitness and doesn't, reoccur the injury. Look at Jota, for example. Jota had a hamstring injury in the Nations League, come back, was with the squad for about 2-3 days, and then re-injured the same injury, which that is why I think Liverpool might be a bit like, oh, go back to Liverpool, see what it is, do work there, and then of course the squad will be back in 2 weeks, or a week's time, anyway. So hopefully it's nothing too bad in that regard. Anyway, you hope anyway. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope they fully don't know it yet as well. Yeah, no, they don't. And then that's the thing, until there is further assessment, like I mentioned, and like Paul Joyce mentioned as well, in this little bit I took, well, again, not I took out, the Anfield Talk took out, saying that, again, Luis Diaz, complaining that a further assessment in England to determine the extent of the blow as well, which, again, you don't hope that it's, you hope that it's something not serious, then, of course. But, guys, let me know your thoughts on the Luis Diaz situation, because for me, it is very much gutting, the fact that he has had a little bit of a setback. I think when he does come back, you'll just kick off like he did, like like he has done at the start of the season, and like what he did at the second half of last season as well. Completely, I wouldn't say transform the attack a little bit, but he was just insane, wasn't he? The second half of last season, I think by far the best attacker in the side, probably maybe apart from Sadio Mane in that regard last season. But for me, Luis Diaz will come back better for sure, 100% on that. But yeah, I hope it's only a little setback as well. Yeah, again, hopefully it is just a tiny setback for Luis Diaz. But we will move on to Roberto Firmino. Yes, guys. So let me take a quick drink a minute, guys. Sorry if you can hear me slurping. Yeah, let's talk about Roberto Firmino. Of course, Florian Plettenberg mentioning Roberto Firmino, and talks about a new contract have started and are running positive. He can only really imagine to extend beyond 2023 to at least 2025. So what's that, about a 2-year deal with the Reds? Anyway, Klopp's future will have an impact on Firmino's decision. Still a top relation between them as well, which again is very, very good news in that regard as well, because of course we knew weeks and weeks ago, didn't we, chat about Bobby potentially getting a new deal? That rumor circulating around Twitter. Of course, Twitter can be reliable sometimes, but sometimes it can't be as well. But again, that rumor was circulating that there was a 2-year deal. Talked about, with a potential 3rd year also attached to that if Liverpool wanted to add upon that as well. So again, it's good, the fact that he's going to be getting a new deal as well. For me, look, I think it's better keeping Roberto Firmino around than to let him go, especially at the minute. I think I mentioned to you guys as well when we were talking about replacements back 6-7 months ago. about who could replace Roberto Firmino. For me, Christopher Nkunku was definitely a guy that ticked all the boxes for Liverpool in terms of what we would potentially be going you know and the team looking at with Darwin Núñez in the team and Mo and Luis Diaz. For me, he would have been someone like that, but of course he's off to Chelsea, isn't he? So again, and of course, we're putting all our eggs in one basket at the minute with a certain someone. But again, it's that fact of, for me, Liverpool, when Bobby is playing good, Liverpool play excellent. And that's been proven a season when we've had to properly rely on Roberto Firmino and his goals and assists. Because we've had either Jota injured, Darwin suspended in certain areas, or little bits and pieces as well. So again, it's that thing of basically, can you afford to let Roberto Firmino leave on a free? The answer for me is no. And again, it works out like that. And again, it's with similar players as well. This is why I think James Milner stayed for so long. Because again, how reliable has he been in a sense, in certain elements, and that. And again, it's that thing. And I think that's that it's always that saying of, can you afford to replace this person in your team? With Sadio Mane, we could to some extent. Obviously, Luis Diaz, come in to replace Mane. Of course, Mane then went to the centre, and of course that left a big gap. But obviously, Darwin Núñez then came in as well. So it's that thing of when you look at the Liverpool squads. For me, Bobby is the one that gets the deal. Obviously, I think as Mark has put it there, I will get Mark's comment up right now anyway, but he says, yeah, Milner needs a new add-on as well. Yeah, for me, I don't think Milner gets an add-on, if I'm being honest. I think that there's something there that I think James Milner might not stay for next season. But I could be wrong, and I hope I am wrong. But there is something there that isn't quite, there's nothing quite concrete yet, in terms of, him staying for a further year, as well. But again, something could get announced literally tomorrow. That's how secretive these things are and how quiet they are. And then again, one little tweet, one little wasp, them, bang, it's done, as well. But not sure with Naby. Naby's not getting one. Mark and chat as well. How much I've been a fan of Naby Keita at Liverpool Football Club. For me, no. Because supposedly he wants more money. He wants a 3 or 4 year deal, and apparently he's complaining about game time. Which, has he been fit to play this season? No. Can you complain when you're not fit? No, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, if he was fit every single week and not playing and not starting, then fair enough. I would be, 100% be agreeing with Naby Keita. But again, in my opinion, I just think Naby Keita, he wants to leave Liverpool. I think he wants to go back to the Bundesliga, and that's a question for the chat as well, and to Mark as well. Could Naby go to Dortmund potentially? That's a thing that could happen. Free transfer. Liverpool won't try and get rid of him in January. I don't think you can do that anyway, to be fair. Actually, I say that, yeah, you can do that. But again, at the end of January, they could literally sell Naby Keita. Not sell, sorry, Naby could go on a free. So it works out, there's no point, realistically. But yeah, in terms of contract news, yeah, Roberto Firmino going to be getting positive anyway, and things look positive, with Roberto Firmino and getting a new deal anyway. So let me know, guys, if you're watching on repeat as well. Let me know your thoughts on, of course, Roberto Firmino potentially getting a new deal. Anyway, but let's talk then about this man, as well. Sofiane Amrabat, of course, the Moroccan and Florentina midfielder that, of course, has been on the lips of a few Liverpool journos over the last couple of days and weeks. And well, I say days and weeks. It's more days, realistically. He's been the last week, haven't it? But again, he's been a very, very good player for Morocco so far at this World Cup. And Florian Plintenberg, yet again, has been pretty reliable through the World Cup phase in terms of news anyway. But he says, yes, there were talks with LFC. More could follow. Julian Ward is a big fan of the 26-year-old machine from Morocco at this stage. Florentina doesn't want to sell him in the winter. It's a poker. Amrabat wants to make the next step in the summer at the latest as well. So again, that's at the latest. And of course, the rumor was yesterday or the day before that Florentina would be willing to listen to 30 million euros, which is around 26 million pounds. Which again, I think we mentioned in WeChat the fact that it could be a lot more because of the World Cup, and he's had pretty much a very, very solid World Cup that he could even be in the team of the tournament by the end of it. As well, depending on what happens tomorrow, I think he definitely could be in contention for team of the tournament. But again, it's that sense of, do Liverpool just put in an offer? Do they try and do something? Again, it's potential. There's rumours and whispers going on that Spurs are after him as well. Spurs apparently have been looking at him for some time, which would be interesting. Again, but it's that worry of, for me anyway, it is that real worry of the World Cup problem where a player looks absolutely phenomenal throughout the World Cup and then you have him and then they're quite bad. We all remember, one guy in particular at Liverpool back in the day. But again, it's that problem of the World Cup, and everything gets inflated with the World Cup as well. But I do think there is something there as well. And Grizz Khan as well. If anyone's not following Grizz, then go and follow Grizz Khan as well. You guys will know Grizz. Anyway, but it says Moroccan and Florentina's combative midfielder and one of the stars of the World Cup so far, Sofiane Amrabat, has indicated he wants to join Liverpool. Liverpool are interested along with Spurs. His current club are looking to double his salary to around 30k a week to keep him at the club, which again, 30k a week, that's outrageous, when you think about it. That would be absolutely amazing if we could get him for that. And it's one of these things where, and again, we're talking about, Bellingham, for example, we're talking about, certain things happening, big money signings. But it is that, thing as well where you do look at it and you're like, potentially Liverpool, we're not done looking at the, the 20 millions, the 30 millions bargains. Liverpool are not done with that as well. But it is that factor as well of, potentially he might work for now because again, where does he mostly play? He plays as a six, which, again, this season and even last summer as well, we looked at that position. We looked at it with Tchouaméni, for example. Tchouaméni can play a six, he can play an eight as well. But if Liverpool were to go more for a 4-2-3-1, have him alongside a Henderson, a Fabinho, a Thiago, that is one option, or even as a three as well in midfield when, we've had to realistically not had Henderson there. And Fabinho hasn't been great as he so far this season. Maybe that does then give more options there. So I think potentially does. It does give you more options there anyway. But I can't think if there are any more players close as well. We'll take a look at that, Mark, as well. But yeah, Mark says they want an increase on his wages as well. Again, though, if it's only 30k, then that's a bargain when you look at it at that phase of things. Anyway, nothing's happened in the first half anyway of extra time of the Argentina and Netherlands game. You're kind of doing a watch along now in terms of the news show as well, so you get a 2-for-1 chat as well. To be fair, but yeah, for me, I think I think Liverpool, and it will go on more. We will go on a little bit more about Bellingham in a brief moment, anyway. But again, in terms of it, I think will Liverpool sign a midfielder in January? The answer is yes. Is that midfielder Amrabat? That's another question where might be a little bit, meh, you know, who knows? But I do think Liverpool will sign a midfielder. Whether or not that be, Amrabat, Saicedo, you don't know. And I don't know. I'm not anyone in the know. I literally go on Twitter, go on the internet, and search up, what people are saying. That do know things anyway. To be fair, but yeah, it's half time anyway, in extra time. In the other game, in the game as well. If anyone else is watching, anyway, Mark, if you're watching as well. But yeah, guys, if anyone's new around here as well, then please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Because yeah, we're over 800 subscribers now. I didn't really mention that at the start of the stream, so thank you for that to begin with. And of course, the road to 900, and then eventually a K. We'll hopefully try and get there by the end of the season. I'm hoping. Anyway, but again, massive thank you to all of you guys anyway. Again, I appreciate everything. I'm just a simpleton talking football. And again, I love talking about Liverpool. I love talking about football. That's if you met, my nan, she'd tell you that's all I talk about is football and sports. So again, thank you for practically listening to me rabbling on anyway. But I think we lost out on players where we after our last window. That's why we had to bring in Mello as well. Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing is though, Mark, as well. I think Liverpool. I think Jurgen thought that we could survive without midfielders being brought in. Um, and that's the big problem. I feel. I think Jurgen thought, if we can maybe last 6 months at least without refreshment, because he said all summer long, didn't he? He was, barking on Jude Bellingham, and then the news was coming out that Liverpool desperately tried to sign Jude Bellingham last summer, and so on. And that's the thing where. We tried our best last year. Fair enough. Dortmund said no to everything, which was fair enough. And of course, Liverpool, you know, went for Tuchemeni. Tuchemeni has said this himself in the interview he did last week. He said, "Look, Liverpool wanted me. Liverpool made offers and so on. But as soon as Real Madrid's come in, I wanted Madrid, and that is something right that I would much rather prefer. I would much rather prefer a player just go, I'm sorry, I want Real Madrid. That's the club I want, and that's it. Instead of a player that will literally just, you know, say, oh yeah, I'd like to play for Liverpool, I'd like to play for Madrid, and try and like linger it on, and so on. That's something I don't like. It's like with Fekir, for example. And we've mentioned Nabil Fekir. His brother supposedly, when that medical failed, and the dropped fee apparently happened with his knee. It was agreed again with Liverpool and Lyon, and then of course I believe it was Nabil Fekir's brother was like, yeah, we want extra money because the transfer fee is going to be knocked off a little bit, which again, massive no in that regards. Which again, you want people that are respectful both ways in terms of it as well. But yeah, have it on as well. Brilliant as well, Mark. As well, if it goes to penalties, we'll stop the stream and we'll just watch the penalties again. Again, Brazil out as well. We should mention that. Ali and Fabinho will be back next week by the looks of things. They'll have a week off and then come back, I think, with the rest of the squad. I think next week as well. I think Darwin's back on the 12th. So Monday he'll be back with the rest of the squad, I believe. So again, the Reds are coming back thick and fast at the minute as well, to be fair. But yeah, that's all my family do as well. Once I've gone about that, just talk about football and sports, Mark. That's literally me as well. But yeah, I thought that too after last year's performance, and then winning the community, and then winning the charity shield as well. Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Everything looked really, really good, didn't it? And then Fulham happens, and then you're like, yeah, we might be a bit buggered by it. And I think Liverpool thought that as well. I think because Jurgen's, in the what was it? We had 6 days left of the transfer window, and then Jurgen come out in the press conference like, "Yeah, we've messed up. We know, I was wrong. You was right. We need a midfielder." And then yeah, then the rumours of Caicedo bid and obviously Arthur Melo getting him done and that. But yeah, and that's the thing as well. People, I remember, I think in the last stream as well, people were asking about, are Liverpool gonna complete Arthur Melo signing? Absolutely not. Um, Definitely not now. I did say that I did think there might be something there with Arthur Melo just because of the release clause that was mentioned by Juventus themselves. Liverpool didn't want anyone to know about it. That for me was a sign that Liverpool might want to sign him, but again, I don't think Liverpool want to go anywhere near him. It was just a stopgap, realistically, and it massively it failed. If it worked out, then fair enough, it would have been amazing, and we would have looked like heroes. And Michael and Julian Ward would have looked like a hero in that aspect. But once again, that it wasn't going to work out, was it? Realistically, anyway. But we will move on then to, of course, the Jude Bellingham news. Of course, you're looking at Jude Bellingham. I like this photo. I don't know why, but for some reason, it just makes me laugh because that's exactly all of us looking at Jude Bellingham with a massive grin on our face and like, please join Liverpool next summer. Anyway, but the news anyway, and this is we are covering yesterday's news and today's news with Jude Bellingham because it wasn't really big news yesterday with Jude Bellingham. But this is what was said yesterday. Jude Bellingham will inform Borussia Dortmund he wants to leave after the World Cup, with Liverpool leading the race for his signature, which of course is big news because we know that Dortmund and Borussia Dortmund and Jude Bellingham are going to meet to talk about his future as well after the World Cup, which again is massive for it. But this I thought was the huge news yesterday from Matteo Morotto as well, which of course I think he was speaking on a Real Madrid podcast a couple of days ago. But I think he said this on his own podcast, I believe as well. But he said Liverpool want to invest everything into Jude Bellingham. The Reds are willing to reach up to 150 million euros, and the player looks favourable on a signing for Liverpool. Klopp's team plan is to add another to add another more physical midfielder to Bellingham as well. So again, like we spoken about Amrabat as well, potentially there might be a deal there, where we might get Amrabat now, and then of course just focus everything on Jude Bellingham in the summer, which of course I think what everyone wants anyway as well. But again, this was more on yesterday's news as well, and of course the news from Christian Falk as well, saying that Jude Bellingham prefers a move to Liverpool, even without Champions League qualification, which, like we've said, that was going to be huge. Whether or not Liverpool, could convince Jude Bellingham on signing for the Reds if we didn't have Champions League, which of course we want Champions League because that would help massively anyway with the funding for Jude Bellingham. But if he's already convinced, in terms of potentially not getting Champions League football, then that's a huge step for Liverpool. When you've got the teams of Chelsea, United, for example, City, Madrid, we all have said, and I still think it is between Liverpool and City for the signing of Jude Bellingham. But Madrid, I think, obviously you can't count them out. Right now, I would say it's Liverpool, City, and then Madrid in terms of who is signing Jude Bellingham. But again, people have said it, and they are perfectly right as well. There will be twists, there will be turns as well. Nothing is concrete. The only time it will be concrete when it's officially confirmed and Jude Bellingham is in a Liverpool jersey and he's made the announcement video, and we can all do breaking news. Jude Bellingham is signed for Liverpool, and so on and so forth. But again, it will take time. It's not going to happen, magically overnight. It won't. and that's the unfortunate thing about it as well. But I do think Liverpool are massively ahead of everyone else in terms of it anyway. But this was today's news anyway. That was part of the news anyway. But this was some of the news as well of today. Actually, have I missed a slide by here? No, I haven't. There we go as well. But Fabrizio Romano also talking about it, saying talks continue on the player side, but it's not time for final decision yet on Jude Bellingham's future. Borussia Dortmund will open talks with clubs in 2023. Understand the only agent of Jude Bellingham who's now taking care of the negotiations is father Mark Bellingham as well, which of course we mentioned yesterday or the day before, whenever I think it was the day before, wasn't it, chat, where we streamed. Jude Bellingham's family wants him to join Liverpool, if you believe the the supposed rumours and so on, which again is a massive plus in Liverpool's favour as well, where Klopp potentially has a step ahead in that regard. Anyway, but Florian Plintenberg as well, also adding, being told from reliable sources that Mark Bennett, which supposedly was the agent of Jude Bellingham, is certainly not his agent. He has nothing to do with any negotiations. He didn't speak to Real Madrid. That was the rumor go around today, that a part of Bellingham's team was speaking to Real Madrid as well. And also, well, it says there as well, his parents are responsible for what's going on right now behind the scenes. And as Florian Plintenberg has mentioned down the bottom there, saying that Liverpool are one of the favourites because of Klopp, as revealed as well. So again, Liverpool have a massive, massive step ahead in terms of everyone else because of Jurgen Klopp and what, basically what Jude's family want. As well, because again, like we spoken about it in plenty of other videos as well, Jude Bellingham's family and Jude Bellingham himself as well are pretty intelligent, and Jude Bellingham's family are Liverpool fans. I believe his mother, his father, and his brother are also Liverpool fans. Which again, and you look at it, and that's the thing in it with other teams, and it is basically on the legends part as well, on the side of that, where at Liverpool, compared to any other team in the world, it's similar what Klopp said to Coutinho. You can go to a Barcelona, a Real Madrid, anyone else, and just be another player to them. To us, you will be a legend and will forever be known, in Liverpool and this, that, and the other, and be known as a legend. And he went off to Barcelona, and look what happened. I think it's similar with Jude Bellingham. Every single time Liverpool are even half mentioned, Jude Bellingham smiles. Every single time, something's mentioned about Steven Gerrard, of course, being his idol, and so on. And again, these are huge, huge factors. And he's seen it, and he's seen it for how we speak about Stevie G now, and so on, and how we speak about Suarez back in the day, Torres, just for examples, for the past seasons, even the likes of Divock Origi, for example, in terms of Liverpool legend status, and it is that, and the fact that he is 19 years of age. Liverpool are going to get him, on a 6-year deal by the looks of things. Anyway, just judging from reports, he's going to be 25 years of age. When he's at the end of his contract, that's insane. And who's to say he wants to leave then? For example. He's going to be around for a very, very long time. And if he's this good now, imagine what he's like under Jurgen Klopp after a couple, even next season, for example. Imagine what he's going to be like in a preseason, after the preseason, after one season, after 2 years under Jurgen Klopp. It's going to be mental. It's going to be mental if it does happen. Anyway, but Dave O'Cobb as well, also bringing it up as well, saying Bellingham's family want him to join Liverpool. That was from Christian Falk. Bellingham's family are leading negotiations, which was from Florian Plintenberg, which of course then Christian Falk and Florian Plintenberg, Bellingham to Liverpool ? Which I thought was pretty good as well. But again, when you take the two together, it would make sense realistically. But yeah, Jude Bellingham, again, the conversations won't be going away anytime soon. In terms of Jude Bellingham, we know this. I think everyone knows this. Nothing is going to change, from now until he's, at another club. We already know this, but whether or not something can get announced now, in January, for example, that's a whole other question, as well, and it is a very interesting question, as well. Sorry, chat. I am trying to check if there is any other news for you guys, anyway. But let me check the comments out as well. Mark, thank you very much for commenting tonight, my friend. I think nobody, I don't know whether or not the video has reached out to people. I don't know whether or not nobody's watching it because of the World Cup, for example, as well. But I do very much appreciate, Mark, you staying in, as well, my friend. But I'm confused why there's no tempo on these games, as they just looked like group games. The only thing Klopp was like knocking him down in press conferences, so thought we might get him at a cheaper cost as well. Who's this? Bellingham, you saying for there, Mark, as well? I'm confused why there's no tempo in these games, as they just look like group games. The only thing Klopp was knocking him down in press conferences, so thought we might get him for cheaper cost. I don't know what you're going on about there, Mark. It might be actually might be unfair, to be fair. Gone on there. Elliot has vowed to stay at the club. Yeah, I think he's going to try and stay at the club for forever. I think him, Trent, Curtis Jones to some extent. Maybe. I think Curtis Jones might go out on loan next season. Maybe. That's depending if we get other players in, to be fair. And Mello as well, sorry, as well. Yeah, no, I thought you were going about Arthur, but I wasn't too sure then, Mark, to be fair. But no, Mello. Yeah, exactly. It's that thing, isn't it, where you've got that release clause, haven't you, of 34 million, which, I still think is it's a weird thing, isn't it? Because, Juventus tried to sneakily put it in, supposedly, or Liverpool didn't want anyone knowing about it. And then it wasn't a straight up release clause. It's Liverpool can pay it over 2 years, which, sounds perfect in some ways for Liverpool. But, again, with Juventus at the minute, everything is dodgy, with Juventus, because if you guys don't know, of course, the whole entire board have left, and they're supposedly meant to be in very big trouble, because they haven't announced. I think it's around, 300 million in losses in total. As I think Argentina's just they've just hit the post. Jesus Christ, that nearly went in. Was it Messi? No, it was Enzo Fernandez. Was that Enzo Fernandez? Oh, what a strike that was! What an absolute strike that was. It looks like it's going to be penalties, guys. In a minute, we won't be live for penalties, as well. But yeah, I think Arthur, he's tried everything, hasn't he, to get his career back. And I think this was the last big move that he could hope for. And of course, it hasn't worked out. So it's that case of where does he go? Does he go back to Brazil? Does he does someone try and do this, try and do that? You don't know, do you? But for a player that was, hyped massively, and basically used by Barcelona to, for money, it's not great, is it? Because of course, him and was it Pjanic that it has gone to penalties, guys. It is penalties right now. I think it was Pjanic, wasn't it? For Juventus, the swap deal. So again, it's not the best, though, is it? Really, chat. When stuff like that happens as well. But yeah, a few big clubs are supposed to be in trouble. Yeah, Barca, Real, mainly Barca, Juventus are the two, which conveniently were the two that wanted to stay in the conference league, in the Super League. So when you look at it like that, it's it's surprising. Not surprising. It's very much not surprising. But it's a big thing right now, and I think with Serie A law, how it works anyway, I think they could be deducted massive points, where they could be like -20 at the start of next season, or something like that. It's mad how it works out. Anyway, but it is mental, isn't it? Realistically, but I will show you anyway, guys. And Mark, let me know your thoughts on this as well, and anyone watching on repeat, as well. So yesterday we put it out on Twitter before the penalties do start. Anyway, we did mention well the rumored Liverpool away kit for next season. It was brought out on footyheadlines.com. They're the ones that are usually pretty reliable in terms of kit releases and so on. And this is the early demo for the away kit that it says anyway, but it is the rumored away kit for next season anyway. How are we thinking about that, chat? Because for me, it's absolutely hideous. It's like someone has run out of ink um, and just decided just bugger it. You know, it's green, it's white. We'll just figure it out. I don't know what on earth you call it, but yeah, that is supposedly the away kit for next season. It is like if, do you know when you get the water paints and you do a bit that's very much well, pretty much you do a big splash of it and then just like do it pretty faintly. That's what it looks like, and it's absolutely terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But yeah, just to take another look at it, it is really really bad right now as well. But honest to God, chat, I honestly don't know what to make of it. Mark said not seen this kit yet. Mark also put like a 4-year-old did that. Yeah, it's not the best, is it? I definitely don't think that will be the final Liverpool kit. Don't get me wrong, um, but I do fully expect it definitely not to be like that. Anyway, but yeah, I thought I'd bring it on the stream anyway, just to show you guys, because again, I think a load of people will definitely be having their say on that. To be fair, anyway, but for me, guys, it's absolutely horrendous. And if you want to go on our Twitter page as well, I think everyone, when they quote retweeted it, and I think you even commented in below as well. I think loads of people have been, having their say on it as well, which was absolutely brilliant to see. Anyway, but penalties are going ahead. Bugger it. Should we do bloody hell, I nearly hit the camera down then. We are going to watch the penalties chat anyway. It's going to be a little bit of an extra. What's name? Virgil van Dijk is stepping up anyway. But if anyone is just tuning in anyway, of course, we've spoken about Roberto Firmino. We've spoken about Luis Diaz and the injury. Of course, we've also spoken about Jude Bellingham, Amrabat as well. And I think that's all we've spoken about today in today's episode. I could be wrong. Virgil is stepping up. I am a bit behind, I think, everyone else. Well, I am watching I play on Virgil shoot, and Virgil saves. Ah, Virgil. Virgil. That is. Was he off the line? No, he wasn't. Ay. Big miss from Virgil van Dijk. Bloody hell. Yeah, definitely not a good pen, but Leo Messi steps up, of course, done a penalty, well, scored a penalty earlier on. And now it's huge. Now if they score this, and again Argentina players are fighting with Holland players as well. That's all they've done tonight, chat, as well, haven't they? That's all they've done is just fight. But Messi steps up. If the goalkeeper can save this, then this would be huge. Penalty scores up, and of course Messi scores. It's calm as you like. It's his tournament to lose. It's massively his tournament to lose. Absolutely ridiculous penalty. I say ridiculous penalty. It's just calm. Plenty of people have stepped up like that and missed. And just Messi knows he's the best ever, man. He is the best ever to do it. I know, obviously, that will kickstart a debate in itself with Ronaldo and Messi and so on as well. But yeah, for me, he just is that he is the it factor in it really as well. But oh my God, Holland have missed again. Haaland have missed again. Emi Martinez has saved yet again for Argentina. You know what, chat? I'm gonna say it by it. It will be Argentina and whoever wins out of England and France tomorrow. That will be the final, the World Cup. And that probably will get clipped up as well, but that will be the final of the World Cup, to be fair. Anyway, but as far as we know, anyway, it's going to be Argentina winning it anyway. Let me quickly read through the chat. Anyway, Mark saying maybe a very early design in the process. Well, yeah, exactly. It will get changed. It's probably like 50 samples of it as well. And Argentina 2-0 up. Ooh, if Holland missed the next penalty, it's definitely over then. But yeah, it was 2-0 Argentina at the minute. But yeah, not a good pen as well. I think that was from Virgil as well. Messi is such a show off as well. I love him, Mark. I think he's the best ever to do it. But yeah, the thing is, that penalty, if the goalkeeper goes the right way, he looks stupid. Obviously, because the goalkeeper goes a different way, he looks calm and collected, doesn't he? So it works both ways in many regards. But yeah, it's not the best, is it? I don't like Emi Martinez, by the way. Honestly, I would pelt the ball at his face if I could. The penalty shootout, anyway, it's absolutely horrible. Was it Colombia when he started like showboating in that? Great penalty. Um, that was a great penalty. It's 2-1 now to Argentina. I think Argentina still need to score. Um, we will stay live anyway, chat, for the penalty shootout. I do want to watch this with you guys anyway. We're going to watch it with you guys, but again, you can go back and rewind what we've spoken about in tonight's episode. Again, we've spoken about Jude Bellingham, we've spoken about Amrabat, we've spoken about Roberto Firmino, Luis Diaz, most importantly as well. Hopefully, he will be okay. And again, it's that sense of we hope that he's going to be a-okay for the start of the Premier League season, which is only 2 weeks away, I think it is, isn't it? And it's 3-1 Argentina. One more, unless if Holland miss, Argentina win. That's huge. This is, but yeah, good penalty. Yeah, again, just simple. I never get right, and I'm not a professional footballer. I'm way from it, but I never get how players smash it over the bar. I never get that. Never ever get it. And it's a Veghorst that's next. Yeah, it's Veghorst that's next. You could absolutely blam it across the bar. No, bottom corner, brilliant penalty. Yeah, so if Argentina score, they win. So Argentina will go through to face Croatia, which, again, you look at it, Croatia, and again they're fighting. Why are they fighting again? Why are you fighting? Oh, Jesus Christ. This referee, by the way, needs that. He won't be doing any of the semi-finals or the final. I think the referees have been poor tonight. I think, like, for me, let me know your guys' thoughts as well. Deliberate handball should be a red card, right? If it's purposely, like, punch the ball. Messi did it. Messi did it once, and I think Acuna did it as well. No, was it Acuna or was it Romero? I think it was Romero, wasn't it? To punch the ball, which I thought was pretty funny, to be fair. But steps up, and it's, oh my God, Enzo Fernandez. Is that Enzo Fernandez? What a absolute! What have you done there? Absolutely messed the penalty up. The goalkeeper went the right way, to be fair. But again, that's absolutely shocking. But Holland have a chance to come back now, to be fair. But it's still 3-2. If they miss, it's over, I think. Yeah, if they miss, it's over. De Jong has to score this. If he doesn't score, then it's definitely over. And he scored. And Emi Martinez is angry over something. Yeah, so if Argentina miss, this goes to sudden death. Go on, just miss it. Go to sudden death. But Mark, let me know as well, Mark. Would you let your penalty taker go first or last in the penalty shootout? For me, I'd go first. Because at the end of the day, you get players over. You practically get one already, then, don't you? In some sense. But Netherlands penalty practice, yeah, as a striker, so many lean far back. Yeah, I don't get it. I generally don't get it. Just head over the ball and just blast it. If it's safe, then that's fair enough. But Lautaro Martinez steps up. If they score, they're through. If it misses, we go sudden death. And it's in Argentina are in the semi-final of the World Cup. Bloody hell, that was pretty good, wasn't it, chat? As well. But yep, there we go. Virgil van Dijk is out of the World Cup. So again, he will be back next week. So again, commiserations to Virgil van Dijk and the Holland team as well. But Messi's Argentina go through to the semi-finals. Anyway, but that's I will wrap up there, guys. Anyway, but again, commiserations to Holland, and Messi goes on potentially again. Are they fighting again? They are fighting again. Why are they fighting? Why are they fighting again? BBC are just constantly on Messi, but I think the two benches now are now fighting. Bloody hell. But yeah, we'll wrap up with the news anyway. Of course, we've spoken about Luis Diaz, and he has flown back to Liverpool. Of course, Paul Joyce bringing out the tweet saying Luis Diaz, Liverpool winger, suffers injury setback. Says that Luis Diaz has complained of discomfort following his return from injury, and he will now undergo further assessment in England to determine the extent of the blow as well. Which, of course, we wish Luis Diaz the best anyway, in terms of hopefully it's just a short-term thing, nothing long-term anyway. We've spoken about Roberto Firmino as well, and him getting a potential new deal as well. Talks are going very, very good, and it looks to be a deal up to 2025 as well. Amrabat, we've also spoken about Amrabat, of course. Florian Plintenberg saying yes, there were talks with Liverpool and more could follow. Julian Ward is a huge fan of the machine from Morocco as well, and also saying that Florentina don't want to sell in the winter, but Amrabat wants to make the next step in his career and move to the Premier League as well. Chris Khan also mentioning that Liverpool are looking to sign along with Spurs, are also interested in signing Amrabat also. But it also goes on to say his club currently are looking at doubling his salary to around 30k a week to keep him at the club as well. But and also we've spoken about Jude Bellingham again tonight. Chat, of course, we mentioned yesterday's news and today's news as well, saying Jude Bellingham will inform Borussia Dortmund he wants to leave after the World Cup. Obviously, with Liverpool leading the race. Also saying Liverpool also willing to pay 150 million euros, well, practically go all in for Jude Bellingham. Also saying Jude Bellingham would prefer a move to Liverpool even without Champions League football. But again, Fabrizio Romano saying that no decision has been made yet. And also as well, Florian Plintenberg also saying the reports suggesting that Bellingham's team had spoken to Real Madrid. That is not the case. He is still favourite to move to Liverpool because Klopp is a big, big factor in the role. And as David O'Cop has mentioned as well, saying Bellingham's family wants him to join Liverpool. Bellingham's family are leading negotiations, which of course should mean Jude Bellingham to Liverpool. Fingers crossed. Anyway, but again, doesn't really mean anything. Anyway, Bry, I can see you in the chat as well. Let me quickly go here as well. Brian saying hi, Connor, as well. Hello, Brian. Hopefully, on a fantastic day, my friends. To try and pressure other teams, some great games today. I expect more upsets tomorrow. Hopefully, Morocco could beat Portugal. But that's the thing. I think that France-England game, whoever win, if England can win that, then that's huge. It's huge to get to a World Cup final. But again, that France team is absolutely huge, isn't it? But hi Connor as well. Hi Brian as well as Mark. Missed it as well. If you missed the stream, just head back, Brian. We've spoken about, like I've mentioned just now anyway. Luis Diaz, Bobby Firmino, Rabat, Jude Bellingham. We've spoken all about that as well. And of course, we haven't really mentioned it. Darwin Núñez as well, getting the Player of the Month as well for Liverpool. So again, great to see that, and hopefully, we'll see him with his award when he comes back from the World Cup as well. But yeah, it was a good stream as well. Great stream as well, says Mark there. But yeah, guys, I'll be live again tomorrow with a preview show for the Lyon game. Of course, Liverpool do take on Lyon in the Dubai Cup, I believe that's what it's called. So again, we'll be live with that unless there's anything breaking news. Then again, we will be live tomorrow for you guys anyway. But if you're new around here as well and viewing this for the first time, then please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button as well. It's very much appreciated as always, guys. Again, big thank you for 800 subscribers. Hopefully we'll get to 900 very, very soon. And again, the main goal is 1,000. If we can get there before the end of the season, that would be very much appreciated, as always anyway. But guys, that's going to be it from me. I've been Connor from the Cup Council. I will speak to you all tomorrow. Ta-ra.